From this LEGO set that was only available at one place at one time, to entire LEGO themes that you've probably never even heard of. These are 86 LEGO items that you'll never own. Up first is a set you actually just missed. This is the LEGO Barracuda Seas set, and if you're a part of the LEGO Insiders, you actually could have picked it up for 2,400 points in November of 2024. This set is a micro-scale version of the Black Seas Barracuda set from 1989, one of the best sets from the OG LEGO Pirates theme. It's so sought after that it's worth over $2,500, so maybe one day the micro-scale version will be worth something too. This is just one LEGO item that you'll probably never own, but there are some ones in here that you might not even know exist, so be sure to watch until the end of the video. Up next is a set from a LEGO theme that hasn't gotten a new set in over 10 years. The theme I'm talking about is the Master Builder theme, which ran from 2011 to 2013. Honestly, you'd be pretty lucky if you owned any set from this theme, but just for an example, let me show you the Action Designer set. This one was released back in June of 2013, and you can build 9 different builds with the pieces that come with it, and each one takes more skill than the last. See, the Master Builders theme was actually really cool. Every set in this theme was meant to teach people techniques used by master builders, the best LEGO builders in the world. So those 9 builds get more difficult for a very good reason. Honestly, this is one of the coolest ideas LEGO's ever had, but I guess not enough people thought the same thing. I know for a fact a ton of people love this next set though. This is the LEGO Spider-Man Street Chase set, and the last time this set saw the shelves was all the way back in 2004. LEGO Spider-Man is one of the most popular themes in LEGO, but vintage LEGO Spider-Man? That's a whole other ballgame. Since Spider-Man has had so many different movies in the last 25 years, people have completely forgotten about the old LEGO Spider-Man sets. This one here was made for the original Spider-Man movies in the early 2000s, and only 10 other sets were made for the entire theme. After this, there were a lot of problems with ownership and a bunch of other boring legal stuff with Spider-Man. But I think it's safe to say that since this set is so old, you probably don't own it, and you may not have even seen it before. This next set though went way under the radar, so there's no way you could own this one. This is the LEGO Cube Dudes Bounty Hunter Edition, and these guys were the brickheads before brickheads, except they were way harder to get. This Bounty Hunter Edition was only available at the Star Wars Fan Celebration V in 2010. Only 2,000 of them were made for the event too. Oh, and they weren't free. Each one cost $75, so even if you were there, you actually had to buy it. The thing about these Cube Dudes is that only 3 sets were ever released for them. This Bounty Hunter one isn't really that expensive on the aftermarket. The problem is just finding one with everything included. However, one of the other 2 Cube Dudes sets is worth an unbelievable amount of money. Before that though, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I post LEGO videos just like this one every single week. Now, about that super expensive Cube Dude, funnily enough, it's actually this Buzz Lightyear set, and it's valued at around $4,000. Usually, you'd think anything LEGO Star Wars would be worth way more than Toy Story, but once I tell you about this set, I think you'll understand. The Buzz Lightyear Cube Dude was also made in 2010 and was also available at a certain event. Buzz was available at the 2010 Toy Fair, so unlike the Bounty Hunter Edition, people were there for way more than just a singular movie franchise. Here's the kicker though, only 150 copies were given out at the 2010 Toy Fair, so it was super difficult to get one. This definitely adds to the value, but the real reason this Buzz Lightyear set is worth so much money is because every copy was signed by Angus MacLane. Even if you've never heard of this guy, you've definitely seen his work. He's mostly known for his animation work at Pixar Studios, and he's got an insane resume. He worked on Toy Story, Cars, Ratatouille, The Incredibles, WALL-E, Up. The list just goes on and on. He's one of the GOATs of Pixar, so a signed LEGO set of a character from one of his movies, that's the perfect recipe for value. Not every rare LEGO set is like this though. Some of them have every ingredient for a valuable set and somehow end up not being that expensive. Like the Ramble Oil platform from 2008. This set was made in collaboration with Ramble Oil, a Danish oil and gas company. Only 100 of these sets were ever made and they weren't even available in stores. These sets were actually handed out to employees at Ramble. Now you'd think it'd be worth a ton of money because of this, but it's only worth around $450. The problem with this set though is that since so little of them were made and the fact that they were given to Ramble employees and not LEGO fanatics, finding a sealed version of this set is pretty difficult if you don't know where to look. There are a few listings on Bricklink, but if you search it up on eBay, the only thing that comes up is a minifigure that wasn't even in the set. So your average person probably isn't finding it. But this set is pretty low on the totem pole for hard to find LEGO items, especially when you have stuff like the Club Max minifigure from 2010. This minifigure is actually pretty easy to find on the aftermarket. That is, if you've even heard of it. Max is the mascot of the LEGO Club, LEGO Magazine, and Brickmaster, so he's a pretty iconic minifigure for the true LEGO fans. He was on the shelves from February 2010 to October 2011, which is actually a super long time, but he was packaged in a plastic bag. And let's be serious for a second, 2010 and 2011 were prime years for LEGO Star Wars, so there's no way I was picking up Max at the store. If I'm going to talk about minifigures though, then I have to show you the Brick Friday 2019 minifigure. This minifigure is quite literally one of a kind. LEGO's never released another minifigure for Brick Friday. Oh, and if you're wondering what Brick Friday is, it's just what you think it is. Brick Friday is LEGO's version of Black Friday, and the dates line up every single year. Knowing this, you'd think LEGO would make a Brick Friday minifigure every year, right? Well, 2019 is the only year they've ever done it. It was completely free in LEGO stores, and you could also get one with qualified purchases on the LEGO website. They also had the only ever Brick Friday brick, too, but this one wasn't free. To get the brick, you had to spend $55 on LEGO in stores, and it wasn't even available online at all. Honestly, I think it'd be way more surprising if any of you owned the brick instead of the minifigure. They were both super exclusive, but the brick was a lot harder to get. This next item, though, is one that I guarantee you don't have. This is the Legoland Police Boat set, and if the name tells you anything, it's that this boat is super old. This set is from all the way back in 1978, and I know it has Legoland in its name, but it actually wasn't a Legoland exclusive. When this set dropped, it was back before LEGO had official names for themes, so instead they just used Legoland as a placeholder. However, it was actually available at Legoland in Billund, Denmark back in the day. You could also pick it up in stores just like any other LEGO set, but since it's so old, odds are none of you guys actually own this set. It'd be really cool if you did though, so if you do, let me know down in the comments. I want to see just how unobtainable this set really is. Moving on from that though, let me show you a theme from LEGO DC that you've probably never heard of. This is the LEGO DC Superheroes Girls theme, and it was actually around pretty recently, from 2016 to 2017. You might be wondering why it has the word girls in it. Well, it's because this theme was targeted at young girl builders. The theme was based on a TV show called Superhero High School, a show where 4 teenage superheroes attend Metropolis High School. Seeing as how the theme was only around for a year, that probably means it didn't sell very well in stores. So honestly, I'd be surprised if you owned a single set from this theme. This happens a lot with LEGO themes, but none of them are quite as cool as the Designer Program and the Bricklink theme. The Designer Program was a sub-theme of the Bricklink theme, and back in 2021 to 2022, sets were released under this sub-theme that got a lot of support on LEGO Ideas, but ended up being rejected by LEGO. It was basically a way for fans to have a second chance at their sets being released, and the one that got the most attention was the Modular Construction set. This set got rejected on LEGO Ideas way back in 2017, but it was pretty obvious that LEGO liked it, since they displayed it at the LEGO house in 2018. But in May of 2022, the fan who made this set finally saw their build on the shelves. It was part of a super low-key collaboration though, so not many people knew the significance of it when it finally got released. To people who know LEGO, we know that a collab with Bricklink is a super crazy achievement, but the average LEGO fan probably doesn't even know what Bricklink is, so this set went right over their heads, and I can say the same thing for this next set too. This is the LEGO Birthday Diorama set, and even though it came out just 2 years ago, odds are you probably don't have it. This set was only available in the LEGO VIP Rewards section back in January of 2023. It wasn't released for any specific reason, but I like to think it was made to celebrate LEGO's birthday, which is on January 28th. In their entire existence, LEGO's only released 6 sets in total about birthdays. This diorama is one of the most recent ones, but the first one was the birthday cake set from 2012. Honestly, this birthday theme feels like something that's only kept around as a joke. I mean, LEGO hardly makes any sets for it. 6 sets in 13 years, that's not a great ratio. So let me show you one of the coolest items in this whole video. This is the Vintage Minifigure Collection set, and this is one that I'd really like to have. It was released all the way back in 2008, but inside you get the Mount Rushmore of minifigures. It comes with the classic red spaceman, aka the GOAT, the classic fireman, an Octan minifigure, a classic prisoner, and a mad scientist. One might argue that the classic police officer should be in here too, but this set was released by LEGO themselves, and I personally am not going to argue with the source. This minifigure collection is kind of for the old heads though, so let me show you one that was handcrafted for Gen Z. This is the Target minifigure gift set, and if you knew anything about LEGO back in the day, you already know there are some goats in here. This set was one of 5 Target exclusive LEGO sets, 2 of which are the Bullseye gift cards I've talked about in other videos. The minifigure set though came out back in 2014, and while the other one has the Mount Rushmore of the classic minifigures, this set has the Mount Rushmore of minifigures from the early 2010s. There's Lloyd from Ninjago, Lavertus from Legends of Chima, a Swamp Police Officer, and Superboy, which is actually exclusive to this set. Now, obviously, if this was going to be a real minifigure Mount Rushmore, there'd have to be some replacements, but it's still super cool that Target released a minifigure collection in general. That's enough talk about minifigures though. Let me take you back to the sets with the LEGO Grand Carousel set. This set is part of the now retired Advanced Models theme, but the story here is all over the place. Advanced Models started back in the year 2000, and it was actually the replacement for the LEGO Designer theme. Every set in this theme focuses more on functionality instead of playability. So, you guessed it, the LEGO Carousel actually works. Only 31 sets were made under the Advanced Models theme, and it was around for 14 years. But just like how the old Designer theme turned into Advanced Models actually turned into the Creator theme. I'm not exactly sure what's been going through LEGO's mind for this theme, but because of all the name changes, it's produced some pretty valuable sets. The Grand Carousel is around $2,000 on the aftermarket, mostly because it's functional and the fact that it's branded with a theme that hasn't been around in over 10 years. This makes it pretty difficult to get your hands on, unless of course you just want to cough up $2,000. But as we know, this is on the low end for LEGO sets. Let's end this video off with the LEGO Knights Challenge set. This set is from the original castle theme from the late 1980s, and if you know anything about vintage LEGO, then you know this set is going to have a crazy price tag. It dropped all the way back in 1988 for 20 bucks, and now this set sells on the aftermarket for $6,500. The sets from the original castle theme are some of the most sought after sets in all of LEGO, so unless you got super lucky and had this set from back in the day, I think it's safe to say that you don't own it. These are the LEGO X-Men. Once upon a time, these superheroes were actually under their own theme, instead of just being under LEGO Marvel like they are today. When looking at all of the set's values, there's one that sticks out the most. It's Wolverine's Chopper Showdown set, but the reason it's so expensive is because there's actually a super rare minifigure that can only be found with this set. This is the LEGO Magneto minifigure, and its only appearance in LEGO history is in the Chopper Showdown set. This minifigure isn't worth a whole lot of money, but because it's only in a set that's been retired for over 10 years, it makes it a pretty rare minifigure. Up next is a LEGO set that can sell for as much as $5,000. This is the Cafe Corner LEGO set, and for some reason, it's worth a brick ton of money. It was originally released in October of 2007 for $140 and didn't retire until December of 2009. So what makes it so valuable? Well, there are actually some pretty rare pieces in this set that can be pretty difficult to find anywhere else. Like this piece right here. It hadn't been used in years, and until the Cafe Corner set was released, LEGO probably didn't plan on using it again. Along with the rare pieces, this set was actually one of the first LEGO sets of that time period aimed for adults that wasn't from Star Wars or a large-scale sculpture. It was just a regular old cafe. Because of this, people started collecting it after 2009, and after all these years, it's made a pretty big name for itself. Up next is a LEGO item that's just as cool as it is rare. This is a solid gold 2x4 LEGO brick, and yes, it's 100% real. This piece of literal treasure was given out to LEGO employees all the way back in 1979. There are a few key details that make this brick so rare though. For one, it was only given out from 1979 to 1981. For two, it was only given out to LEGO employees that had been working there for 25 years or more. And for three, it was only given out to employees at the Hohenwischstedt factory in Germany. It's like this brick was made to make people jealous or something. Because of how exclusive it is, the brick sells for around $15,000, making it one of the most expensive LEGO items in history. This thing is basically impossible to find, so if somehow you do end up coming across this one, I'd go ahead and get yourself a lottery ticket, because you might be the luckiest person on Earth. While we're on the topic of gold LEGO items, why don't we take a look at another gold LEGO piece? This is a 14 karat solid gold LEGO Kanohi Hao Bionicle mask, and believe it or not, this thing is literally 25 years old. Unlike the 2x4 brick from before, this item was actually part of a Bionicle sweepstakes back in 2001. Only 25 of these masks were ever given away during this competition, but LEGO has done a bunch of gold Bionicle mask giveaways over the years. Funnily enough, this mask actually just sold earlier this year, so it gives us a great idea of how much it's actually worth. It was sold at a live auction on the Goodwill website, and even though some sources say it sold for $33,000, that's actually not true. The person who bought the mask at that price never actually paid the money, so the mask was relisted where it then sold for over $18,000, making it the most expensive LEGO product ever sold. Even though that's an insane record to hold, that's not even the craziest part about all of this. Did you notice that I said it was sold by Goodwill? That means that this LEGO piece was donated by somebody. Who in their right mind would ever donate something like this? There's just no way. It had to be an accident. Up next is a LEGO set with a piece count that's literally higher than the Eiffel Tower. I'm talking about the Legends of Chima Battle for Chima set. With a piece count of 10,004, it has just 3 more pieces than the Eiffel Tower. But the Eiffel Tower set is made for people 18 and over, and the Battle of Chima set was made for people only 9 years old and up, which is insane if you really think about it. The piece count alone is enough to make people want to collect it, but the biggest reason this set is so sought after is because it never actually hit the shelves. This set was only given out to 2 people for a giveaway back in 2015. The 2 winners have never tried to sell this set, so there's no way to know how much it's worth. One thing's for sure though, this is by far the rarest LEGO set in existence. Up next is an item that's going to blow your mind. These are 3 minifigures, and believe me when I tell you, there's no way you can get your hands on any of them. These minifigures are part of a collaboration with NASA called the Bricks in Space Project, a program meant to teach and educate people on the wonders of space. LEGO had already sent some minifigures to space before, where they visited the International Space Station and even landed on Mars, but they had a special plan for these 3 minifigures. These guys were set to fly with NASA's Juno spacecraft and go all the way to the planet Jupiter. Since Jupiter is so far away, there was no way to get the spacecraft back to Earth in a timely manner, so instead, the craft was set to crash into the planet after flying around it for a year straight. In 2016, the craft reached its destination, and a year later, it crashed right into the planet, just as planned. So to sum it all up, I was right when I said that there's no way you can get any of these minifigures. Up next is an item that's so rare, I didn't even know it existed. This is the LEGO Dark Knight Trilogy Batpod set. It may not look like much, but believe me, it's rare. Like a lot of these ultra rare LEGO items, the Batpod could only be won through a giveaway, so it was never actually available for purchase. Only VIP members can enter the giveaway, and to enter, you had to buy something from the LEGO DC Heroes theme back in 2015. The sweepstakes were only around for the month of June, so once July 1st hit, your time was up. On top of that, this giveaway was only hosted in North America, so the rest of the world didn't even get a chance to win it. Only 750 units were ever made, and a good amount of them have been sold in the aftermarket. Prices can get as high as $3,000, which is definitely on the expensive side, even for LEGO. Since only 750 of these things were ever made, I'd say it's pretty rare. Up next is another gold item released by LEGO. Man, what is it with LEGO and gold? This is the gold chrome plated C-3PO minifigure. Now, unlike his much more valuable brother, this minifigure isn't made of pure gold, but I figured we all probably already knew about the solid gold C-3PO, so I went with this one instead. This gold-plated C-3PO minifigure was released all the way back in 2007 to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Star Wars franchise. Only 10,000 of them were ever made, so because of its rarity, it came in some super cool packaging that congratulated the builder on finding the ultra-rare minifigure. But how could you actually have found one for yourself? Well, back in 2007, certain LEGO Star Wars sets were marked with this logo, and 10,000 of them had the gold-plated C-3PO. Prices for this guy range from around $2,000 to $4,000, so it definitely isn't cheap. Since there won't ever be a 30th anniversary for Star Wars again, this minifigure is never coming back, making it a pretty rare piece of LEGO Star Wars history. Up next is a LEGO set that hasn't seen the shelves in almost 30 years. This is the LEGO Dragon Knight Magic Shop set, and I wasn't kidding about how old it is. This LEGO set was released in 1993 and hasn't been back on the shelves since 1994. It was only around for a year, and since it's so old, not that many people have sold it on the aftermarket compared to some other sets. The most interesting part about this set is how much value it's accumulated over the years. Its retail price was $4.49, and now it's worth around $100. That's more than 22 times its original price. LEGO really has made a name for itself over the years. This next LEGO set was released around the same time as the Magic Shop set, but it's worth more than 10 times the price of it. This is the LEGO Castle Dark Forest Fortress set, and it resells for around $1,500. A big reason this set is so popular is because because it's part of the castle theme. But there's actually another factor that makes this set even more expensive. There's a Lego piece in this set that can only be found in this singular set. Well, I guess it isn't much of a piece. It's actually a giant 32 by 32 canyon plate. It's one of the only Lego plates with raised terrain, giving it a 3D look. This 3D look is sought after by a lot of Lego collectors, and since you can only get the piece from this one set, it makes it pretty rare. Up next is a Lego set that completely changed the Lego game when it was released. This is the Lego Futuron Monorail Transport System set from 1987. It's no secret that people love buying vintage Lego. Whether it's because of a super old minifigure you can't get anywhere else, or a set from before you were born, people have all sorts of reasons for buying vintage Lego. This set, though, is a cut above the rest, and let me show you why. Once all 731 pieces were put together, the set could actually be switched on, and the train would go around and around on the monorail. Since it was 1987, a motorized set like this was absolutely huge, and shocked Lego fans everywhere. When you combine all of these factors, you end up with a resale price of around $2,500. Want to know something even crazier though? This set actually has a sibling from 1994, and it's just as cool as it is rare. This is the Lego Unitron Monorail Transport base set, and it's actually worth more than the monorail set from 1987. It has 573 pieces, and just like the first one, once they're all built, you can hit the switch and put the train in motion. You might be asking, if this set was released 7 years after the first monorail set, why is it worth so much more? Well, unfortunately, there isn't an exact reason as to why this set is worth more. My best guess is that people weren't as excited for this one as they were for the first monorail set, so not as many got purchased, causing them to be more rare. As for what the set's actually worth, you can pick one up for around $3,000, assuming you have that type of money to spend on Lego. Up next is the single most expensive minifigure that money can buy. This is the 2013 Comic-Con exclusive Spider-Man minifigure, and it has a huge price on its head. For starters, it was only available at the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con, so not only did you have to go to Comic-Con back in 2013, but you had to go to the one in San Diego to even have a chance of getting this guy. If you think that's bad though, imagine you actually went all that way to get this minifigure just to find out that you had to win it in a raffle. That's right, it wasn't even for sale. What separates this Spider-Man minifigure from the rest is the fact that it has red lower legs. Almost every Spider-Man minifigure these days has blue legs instead of red, so it's pretty easy to tell this guy apart from the others. Oh, and as for the price, if you had any intention of collecting every Spider-Man minifigure, I'd go ahead and leave this guy out of it, because he costs almost $10,000. Up next is a Lego set that everyone wishes they could have. It's the Lego Christmas X-Wing set. Even though the price for it isn't anything too crazy, that doesn't mean it isn't rare. Obviously, Lego hasn't ever released this set on the shelves, because if they did, everyone would know about it. This set was actually given out as a gift to Lego employees back in December of 2019. It was made in celebration of the 20th year anniversary for Star Wars, and let's be honest here, this is the perfect present. Whether it's because of the Santa-themed Yoda or just the set in its entirety, this is one Lego set that everyone wants. Last but certainly not least on my list is the Harry Potter Coca-Cola gift set. This is one of the strangest Lego collabs in existence. What business does Lego, Harry Potter, and Coca-Cola have teaming up to make a Lego set? Well, whatever the reason, they made a pretty rare item. The set is one big box that actually has 5 different Lego sets inside of it. The set was released back in 2002, and because it's so old, not many have been sold on the aftermarket. It's valued at around $475 these days, which compared to the retail price of some Lego sets today, that actually isn't that bad. Regardless, this set is definitely not easy to find, making it a perfect addition to this list. Is an entire overview of every color Lego's ever used made into a set. The set was created by Doc Brick on Lego Ideas, and the only reason they even did this was because Lego merged with Bricklink back in 2022. Bricklink is the easiest way to find and purchase anything Lego's ever made. Whether it's a set, a rare minifigure, or a random piece from a set you built 10 years ago, I guarantee you Bricklink has it. You might be wondering why someone would even bother making a set like this though. Well, it's because Lego actually uses very specific names for their colors, but most times, they'll use something more simple just to make it easier for the public. It's kind of like an encyclopedia, except way shorter and of course way cooler, since it's about Lego. This is one that Lego should have made for sure, but you won't believe some of the other rejections in this video, so make sure you watch all the way until the end. Up next is probably one of the funniest Lego jokes I've ever seen made into a set. We're all familiar with the brick separator, right? You know, that weird orange thing that you only use if you really have to. Well, someone took that concept and made this, the Lego emergency box set. Let's be honest, we're really only whipping this bad boy out if there's a dire emergency. So this set is spot on to real life. Maybe LEGO thought it was a waste of money or something, but in my opinion, fans would have eaten this set up. I mean, how often do you see LEGO making a joke set about themselves? If anything's a joke though, it's the amount of times LEGO rejected a Taylor Swift Lover House set. Now, I'm not a Swiftie, so I don't really know what the hype is around this house. From what I can tell, she had been quote-unquote building rooms with different albums over the years, and an album she dropped in 2022 completed the house. And this sparked an entire movement in the LEGO community. 4 different Lover House sets were submitted to LEGO Ideas in November of that year, and it only took 4 days. 2 of them were even submitted on the exact same day, but unfortunately, it didn't matter to LEGO how many people wanted it. They still rejected all of them anyway. This next rejection is actually more of a LEGO secret. I heard that if you aren't subscribed to my channel, LEGO won't let you buy anything from them, even if it's online, so make sure you subscribe. Anyways, this wouldn't be a video about rejected LEGO ideas if I didn't talk about a classic movie not getting a spot on the shelves. And this time around, it's Shrek. LEGO's rejected so many different sets based on popular TV shows and movies. So many, in fact, that I could probably make an entire video about it. So if you want me to make one, let me know down in the comments. About Shrek though, this one is actually just as embarrassing as the Lover House rejections. Since 2022, 3 different Shrek Swamp sets have reached 10,000 supporters on LEGO Ideas, and one of them even got it twice in 1 year. But knowing LEGO, no matter how many times a set gets enough supporters, if they won't budge, they won't budge. There might be some hope for us yet though. With Shrek 5 coming out later this year, there's a chance LEGO finally collabs with them, but only if the movie is received really well. Even then though, it might end up like the Night at the Museum sets, designed by Nicholas Carlier. The first time he uploaded this set in 2022, it got 10,000 supporters in just 2 months. This really isn't that surprising though. If you ever watched Night at the Museum growing up, then you know that this movie is super good. After the first rejection, Carlier made it his mission to make the set way better and re-upload it to LEGO Ideas. And 2 years later, he was back with a completely new design. Instead of making the inside of the museum with no ceiling or walls like he did the first time, he cut the museum in half. Now, I like the first design a lot more, to be honest, but either way, it doesn't matter. We already know what happened to that new and improved version. Usually rejections for movies like this are pretty obvious, but the fact that LEGO rejected this modular heritage museum set blows my mind. This set was made for the modular buildings theme, and just like that library from my second video on rejected ideas, this museum would fit perfectly in any LEGO city. The modular buildings theme was made so that fans of LEGO City could have an easier time building a city of their own, so every set that gets made for the theme goes a super long way. But I guess LEGO and their fans are bound to disagree, and that definitely happened for this LEGO Star Wars Jedi Council Chamber set. This build was put on LEGO Ideas over 10 years ago, all the way back in 2015. Back then, LEGO Ideas had a lot less members, but even then, the set still got 10,000 supporters in just 6 months, which is crazy. The only reason I can think that LEGO would have wanted to reject this set was because they were about to release a bunch of sets for the Star Wars sequels that were coming out back then. The creator never resubmitted the set, but I have a funny feeling if they did, there'd be a big chance that LEGO would change their mind this time around. One idea LEGO is never changing their mind on though is a new and improved version of the Krusty Krab from SpongeBob. The first one came out all the way back in 2006, and the last time LEGO even made a set for the theme in general was 2012. Now, even though the SpongeBob theme failed miserably in LEGO's eyes, that isn't stopping fans from trying to get what they want. 3 different Krusty Krab sets have gotten 10,000 supporters and failed to review in the last 5 years, but 2 of them are from the same person. The first one was in 2020, the second one was in 2022, and the third one was that same one from 2022 re-uploaded in 2023. There have been 3 solid attempts made by LEGO fans, but I guess since the theme's retired, LEGO really has no desire to make it. But the problem with LEGO's desire to make sets is that it really just doesn't make sense sometimes. This is the Clockwork Solar System set, and it would blow every LEGO space set LEGO's ever released out of the water. Made by Chris Orchard and Brent Waller, not only is this set extremely accurate to the actual solar system, but the planets even rotate around the sun using a singular Technic motor. It doesn't end there though. These guys even made sure the planets rotate at 99.8% accuracy relative to how they do in real life. They definitely move a lot faster, but that's still super sick. The only problem is that this set's been submitted and rejected 3 times in the last 4 years, so odds are we're never seeing it on the shelves. However, this next set is the exact opposite. Back in 2020, LEGO officially collabed with IKEA. LEGO collabing with stores is nothing new, but the one thing they didn't do with IKEA was make a mini version of a store. So a fan decided to make it themselves and post it on LEGO Ideas. It was uploaded 2 years after the collab, so it's not like LEGO didn't have the licensing. The only thing is that IKEA stores are huge, so the creator made it as a modular building instead of a giant warehouse, which was probably pretty smart. Even then though, the set still got rejected, which really is a shame. But it's nowhere near as sad as this LEGO Dr. Seuss set getting rejected. Dr. Seuss is one of the most famous children's book writers of all time, so theoretically, LEGO would have no problem making a set with them, right? Wrong. They probably only rejected it because they didn't have the licensing, but if there's any set they should have went out of their way to make, it's this one. You get to build 3 of the most famous Dr. Seuss books ever written, and instead of them opening up to pages, they reveal some of the most iconic parts from each story. It's definitely a little messy, but LEGO could easily help fix that. They must really not like fan-made Christmas sets though, because they also rejected this Claus Toys Toy Store set too. This is another set that looks like it's straight from the modular buildings theme. And honestly, it'd be really cool if LEGO started making Christmas sets as a sub-theme in modular buildings. This set would fit perfectly in a wintry LEGO snow town. With all the minifigures, the decorations on the store, and everything else, it's literally perfect. LEGO releases Christmas-themed sets all the time too. Like Santa's Post Office and the Alpine Lodge are both on the website right now. But I guess LEGO just can't be reasoned with sometimes, because they rejected one of the coolest sets in this whole video, a working LEGO bike. When I say working, I don't mean that it's big enough for you to get on and ride yourself. That's something only Nathan Sawaya could probably do. So while it may not be life-sized, it still functions just like a regular bike. The pedals make the wheels move, the handle brakes actually work, and there's even a nice little kickstand too. I have to say, my jaw literally dropped when I saw the bike chain moving so smoothly, but I guess LEGO has way higher standards than me. Because not only did they reject this bike, but they rejected this insane LEGO travel suitcase set. Now on the outside, it doesn't look like much, but once you open it, it reveals a beautiful landscape remade out of LEGO bricks. The person who made this set says that whenever they travel, they never forget what they saw, and they wanted to recreate that same feeling out of LEGO bricks. I'm not exactly sure where they went to inspire this build, but I can tell it was amazing. This is a rejection that I just can't understand, especially from a business perspective. Like, imagine the suitcase was dedicated to a certain city in the world, and when you opened it up, you saw that city remade out of bricks. LEGO could have done this for so many different cities, and I think fans would have loved it. That seems to be the case for a lot of rejected ideas though. The fans like something, but LEGO doesn't, so they decide not to make it. But what happens when LEGO makes something both the fans and LEGO like? Well, you clicked on the video, so I guess we already know the answer. But still, look at this set based on all the different types of bridges in the world. This falls right in line with the world of civil engineering, which is a world that LEGO's been a part of for a super long time. It's a known fact that engineers use LEGO bricks to test their bridges before making them in real life. So the fact that LEGO rejected a set that directly relates to them is insane. And it's not like LEGO isn't proud to be a part of the engineering world. There's an entire page on their website dedicated to it. So this really is one that I just can't understand. The next rejection is the University of Brixton set, and the architecture here is super sick. The builder took inspiration from different British universities and bundled them all into one. They said they really liked how some of these old buildings are expanded with modern architecture, like the York Theatre in England, and I have to agree, because it makes for a super cool looking LEGO set. It comes with 8 different minifigures, and the inside is just what you'd expect. There are a bunch of different classrooms and common areas, and of course the architecture on the inside matches what it looks like on the outside, bringing it all together. Maybe LEGO just thinks old looking stuff like this won't do well though, because they also rejected this antique cabinet set. Now, I've never cared about real antiques before, but LEGO antiques? Sign me up. This would definitely be a super sick decorative piece, but what I want to talk about is how funny the antiques in the cabinet are. The creator used a bunch of different LEGO pieces and color matched them to fit with the rest of the set, which I think is hilarious. It's just a bunch of random pieces, which, funnily enough, is pretty accurate to real antiques. Then, of course, there's the random armchair tying it all together. This isn't something that LEGO would typically release, so I kind of understand rejecting it, but it definitely has its audience. The final rejection I want to show you, though, is this insane ancient Greek temple set. This is another one that just makes no sense to me, because not only did the creator put a ton of effort into it, but it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for LEGO to release something like this. They just recently released the Great Pyramid of Giza set, and obviously it's supposed to be what the pyramids looked like when they were originally made. But do you see what I mean? The ancient Greek temple set is literally the same thing, just in a different country. Ancient Greece has some of the most beautiful architecture in all of history. Their temples are literally known for being some of the most well-made buildings ever, just like the pyramids of Giza. I really do feel bad for the person that made this, because this set definitely deserves to be on the shelf. This isn't just any set you could casually find on the shelves of your local store. Oh no. This is a LEGO collector's holy grail, and for good reason. Released in 2011, this beauty was exclusively given to attendees of the LEGO Inside Tour, which, if you didn't know, is a 3-day LEGO fan experience that's only held in Denmark. But what exactly is the set? Well, it's a detailed model of the molding machines used by LEGO to create their iconic bricks. Essentially, it was made to represent LEGO's shift from making wooden products to plastic products, which today are known as LEGO bricks. But here's the real kicker for this set though. Since it was only given to Inside Tour attendees, only 68 copies of the set have ever been made. That makes it a true collector's item, with LEGO fans willing to shell out upwards of $7,000 for it. But if you think that's rare, you won't believe how crazy this next set is. Back in 2013, a user named LEGO Historian published a lengthy discussion post on Eurobrick, a website for everything LEGO. They talk about what they believe to have been a lost LEGO set number 800. They first came across the set in a French LEGO catalog from 1966, but it wasn't even the main subject in the catalog. As you can see, the box for set 800 is covered by set 810, and when you really look at it, the box for set 800 definitely sticks out. The lack of color on the box, the font for the number 800, and the black lines surrounding the number were all very out of style for LEGO back then. Luckily for us though, this user had some crazy connections. Apparently, they got in contact with someone they knew at the LEGO archives, and wouldn't you know it, this set is extremely rare. It was produced only in 1966, but to add the cherry on top, it was only distributed in 3 European countries: France, Denmark, and Norway. Even with all of this newfound information though, the user still doubted that the set was ever even distributed. That was until a person named Gabrielle from Barcelona, Spain, sent in pictures of the exact same box that was found in the French catalog. Gabrielle said that their dad had purchased this set way back when in 1966. And with this, it was confirmed. This set is 100% real. It's by far one of the most elusive LEGO sets of all time. I mean, hardly anyone has ever heard of it. If you like super cool LEGO facts like this one, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post videos like this every single week. Seriously, it would mean a lot. Anyways, let's get back to the good stuff. In 2014, LEGO took a bold step into the digital world with the release of LEGO Fusion. It was the first and only of its kind, and it was actually super sick. The concept was simple: build LEGO structures in real life, then scan them into a digital world using the LEGO Fusion app. It was LEGO's attempt to merge hands-on creativity with the growing popularity of digital gaming, which I have to say is a phenomenal idea. Each Fusion set revolved around a specific item, like Town Master, Resort Designer, or Battle Towers, allowing users to make buildings, cars, or anything else with physical bricks before uploading them into the app. Once in the virtual world, players could actually interact with their builds, expand them, and even complete challenges, blending the best of both worlds. Or at least that was the idea. Unfortunately, the execution didn't quite catch on. The app had compatibility issues, and the gameplay wasn't engaging enough to hold players' attention. As a result, LEGO quickly pulled the plug on the Fusion line, and the sets vanished from shelves almost as fast as they appeared. Just 1 year after the theme's introduction, it was gone, and it hasn't been back since. Just a year before this though, LEGO released one of their coolest sets ever, and instead of trying to step into a new world, they just leaned harder into one they were already a part of. This is the LEGO Architecture Studio, and it's a set unlike any other in LEGO's lineup. Released in 2013 and aimed squarely at adults, this sleek monochromatic set featured over 1,200 all-white bricks, inviting builders to tap into their inner architect. Unlike traditional sets that come with step-by-step instructions, the Architecture Studio actually has what LEGO calls a guidebook. It's filled with a bunch of different techniques you can use with the pieces provided, without telling you exactly what to do with them. What was the point of this? Well, it was to get the more advanced LEGO builders to really tap into their building brains and construct something from scratch, which is pretty cool. With no flashy colors or minifigures, the LEGO Architecture Studio was a serious toolkit for those interested in the principles of architectural design. The minimalist approach gave builders complete freedom to craft their own masterpieces. The included 270-page guidebook wasn't just a manual. It was a deep dive into the world of architecture, offering lessons and tips from professionals to help spark ideas and refine techniques. Though discontinued, the LEGO Architecture Studio remains a highly sought-after set for adult LEGO fans. It's perfect for those who prefer a more sophisticated, free-form building experience, and who appreciate the challenge of working without a predefined blueprint. For these next sets, though, you'd be lost without a set of directions. In the 1980s, LEGO introduced something revolutionary with their Technic pneumatic sets, a system that used air pressure to bring LEGO creations to life. These early Technic sets featured working pneumatic components, which basically just means compressed air components, allowing builders to control the movement of cranes, lifts, and other mechanical functions with a pump. For many, these sets were the pinnacle of LEGO engineering at the time, and they've since become rare treasures in the world of LEGO collecting. The Technic pneumatic system relied on pumps, hoses, and air tanks to create realistic motion, replicating hydraulics used in real-world machinery. Sets like the AirTech Claw Rig and the Excavator let builders experience the excitement of seeing their creations move fluidly, powered entirely by air. These sets didn't just challenge builders to assemble complex models, they introduced them to the basic principles of engineering and mechanics. But these topics are really only meant for adults, so LEGO knew they had to make something to educate kids too. Their solution for this was LEGO Docta. LEGO Docta was LEGO's answer to educational building, designed specifically for schools and classrooms. These sets focused on teaching subjects like math, science, engineering, and robotics through hands-on learning. Unlike standard LEGO sets that were available to the public, Docta sets were typically only sold in schools, making them incredibly rare and hard to come by for the average LEGO fan. These sets weren't about just building for fun. They were designed to inspire critical thinking and problem solving. Very fitting for school. Sets like the LEGO Docta Control Lab brought mechanics and programming into the classroom, giving students an interactive way to explore concepts that were usually way too difficult to learn from textbooks alone. From early motorized builds to programmable robots, Docta paved the way for LEGO's broader educational offerings, like LEGO Mindstorms. But remember, these sets were only sold to schools, so that makes them extremely rare. I'm curious, have any of you guys watching actually built a LEGO Docta set in school before? Let me know down in the comments. Up next is a LEGO theme that had pieces even bigger than LEGO Duplo. Before Duplo became the go-to line for young children, LEGO introduced LEGO Primo, a specialized range of larger, softer bricks designed for infants and toddlers. Released in the mid-1990s, Primo sets featured oversized, rounded pieces that were easy for tiny hands to grip and stack, providing a safe introduction to the world of LEGO. While Primo predated Duplo, it was eventually absorbed into the Duplo brand, which makes it super hard to find actual Primo sets today. What set LEGO Primo apart was its focus on being accessible to super young children and even infants. These bricks were designed with smooth, rounded edges and came in bright, bold colors to capture the attention of toddlers. The sets also included simple elements like balls, rattles, and animal figures. Despite their simplicity, these sets laid the foundation for LEGO's eventual jump into kid-friendly sets. Since LEGO Primo was discontinued in the early 2000s though, complete sets are now considered a collector's item, especially those in good condition. But Primo isn't actually the only time that LEGO has made some overly large bricks. I'm talking about LEGO Quattro. LEGO Quattro was a brief, bold experiment from LEGO aimed at the youngest builders yet. Introduced in 2004, LEGO Quattro featured extra large bricks, way bigger than Duplo, designed for toddlers as young as 1 year old. These massive, easy-to-handle pieces were perfect for tiny hands just starting to explore the world of building. However, despite their unique size and target audience, Quattro only stayed on the shelves for about a year before being quietly discontinued, making these sets quite rare today. What made Quattro unique wasn't just the size of the bricks, but also their compatibility. The larger Quattro bricks could connect with both Duplo and standard LEGO pieces, creating a seamless progression from baby blocks to full LEGO sets as children grew older. Despite this versatility, Quattro kind of fell off, likely due to the dominance of Duplo in the toddler space. But it's safe to say that Quattro basically paved the way for LEGO Duplo, and this next LEGO theme did the same thing, but in a totally different category. Now, we all know that LEGO's made some seriously huge sets for the LEGO City theme, but the founder of these sets was made way back in the day. In 1978, LEGO took a major step towards shaping the cityscapes we know today, with the release of the LEGOland Town set. This wasn't just any other set. It marked the beginning of one of the first true LEGO play themes, reflecting the LEGO Group's growing focus on urban environments. Before LEGO City became the bustling theme it is today, LEGOland Town laid the foundation, drawing inspiration from LEGO's town plan sets from 1955. In 1978, LEGO released a total of 31 town sets across 3 sub-themes, all of which have been retired for ages now. With these sets, LEGO fans could build their own miniature cities, complete with roads, buildings, and vehicles, making it a game changer for LEGO back in the day. It was the first time we saw minifigures interacting with a detailed living world, filled with houses, gas stations, fire trucks, and way more. The designs were simple yet innovative, giving builders endless possibilities to customize their towns. Let's come back to a more recent time though, so I can tell you about a seriously cool LEGO set. Released in 2003, the LEGO Creator Record and Play set took creativity to a whole new level by blending traditional LEGO building with some brand new technology. Sure, it looks like your typical creator set at first glance. You could build all sorts of models, including a frog, a dinosaur, or even your own unique creations. But this wasn't just about building. It was about making your models move. What set this LEGO kit apart was the built-in recording and playback playback function, which allowed you to record and play back movements for your models. You could build your frog or dinosaur, then use the set's motorized components to make them hop, walk, or crawl in ways you've never seen before. Although it was one of LEGO's lesser-known sets, the record and play kit was a fun interactive twist on the usual brick building experience, making it a cool collectible for fans who love LEGO's more experimental side. Over time, it's become a rare gem, sought after by those who appreciate LEGO's venture into motion and mechanics. But this was all the way back in 2003, and this next item will really put into perspective how far LEGO has come. In 2021, LEGO took a bold step into the world of fashion by teaming up with Adidas to create the LEGO Adidas sneakers. The sneakers themselves featured bold LEGO-like details, like a brick pattern sole, LEGO logo accents, and vibrant color schemes that really made them pop. They were designed to reflect the fun and imagination that LEGO represents, while still being fully functional, high-quality Adidas footwear. The collection included shoes for adults and kids, making sure the LEGO love could be shared across generations. Not only were these sneakers stylish, but they also became instant collector's items. Whether you're a LEGO enthusiast who loves to build, or a sneakerhead who appreciates unique collaborations, the LEGO Adidas sneakers were the perfect blend of creativity and fashion. Switching gears though, I want to talk about LEGO's integration of lights and sounds in their sets. Now, what you might not know is that the light and sound that we get to witness in modern day LEGO sets was first introduced even before the year 2000. In the 1980s, LEGO introduced the light and sound sets, adding an electrifying new dimension to traditional builds. These sets came equipped with battery-powered components, including lights, sirens, and even motorized elements, allowing builders to bring their creations to life like never before. Whether it was the flashing lights of an emergency vehicle or the buzzing of a helicopter, light and sound sets were revolutionary for their time. But with electronics involved, these sets have become exceptionally rare today, especially ones that still work. Collectors who come across a working light and sound set are in for a treat. These sets are not only rare due to their age, but also because functional electronics are increasingly hard to come by. Most of the time, the batteries are completely eroded and therefore ruin the set, so they really are a treasure. Speaking of treasure, there's a lot of that in this forgotten LEGO theme. This is the LEGO Adventurers theme, which started all the way back in 1998. But there was something really special about this theme. Obviously, the theme was based around adventures, but it'd be super boring if every time you went on an adventure, you went to the same place. LEGO made sure to avoid this by adding 4 sub-themes to the Adventurers theme. There was Jungle, Egypt, Dinosaur, and Orient Expedition. All of these sub-themes were released from 1998 up until 2003 when the theme was retired. But the sets for this theme were all pretty cool. Since the theme was only around for 5 years though, most of the sets are pretty hard to come by, and a lot of LEGO fans today don't even know that this theme existed. And the same thing can be said for the sets up next. In the early 2000s, LEGO introduced the Studios line, a pioneering theme that brought the magic of movie making to the world of bricks. These sets were designed to let builders create their own cinematic adventures, complete with movie sets, props, and even a working video camera. Among them, the Steven Spielberg Movie Maker set easily stands out the most. In case you missed what I just said, let me say it again. These sets came with cameras that actually worked, so if you wanted to, you could make an entire stop motion film with what you get in one of these sets. As I said before though, the rarest of these sets is the Steven Spielberg one, and considering his level of fame, this definitely makes sense. You might think this LEGO theme is pretty weird, but I guarantee this next one's way weirder. In the late 1990s, LEGO took a leap into the world of time travel with the Time Cruisers theme. This line of sets featured outlandish designs and imaginative time traveling adventures, setting it apart as one of LEGO's most unique and weird looking themes. With its blend of bizarre vehicles and minifigures, Time Cruisers has become a beloved and unusual part of LEGO's history. What makes Time Cruisers particularly special is its one-of-a-kind aesthetic. The sets were intentionally designed to be weird, with bright colors, odd shapes, and quirky details that stood out from more traditional LEGO themes. Despite its short run and limited appeal at the time, the Time Cruisers line has gained a cult following. This super creepy clown set from the LEGO Samsonite theme. This set was released all the way back in 1973. It only has 846 pieces and cost $10 when it was released back in the day. But that isn't what's important here. The Samsonite theme that this set is from is actually a super weird one. It kicked off back in 1961 and survived all the way up to 1979. The reason I'm saying this theme is weird though is because a lot of the sets in this theme don't have a real name, like the clown set from before. Its official name is 846 piece basic set. See what I mean? That's super weird. It isn't even the only one in the theme that has a name like this either. A bunch of different sets have the exact same name, with the only difference being the number at the beginning. Now, LEGO didn't do this for every set in the theme, but the fact that they did it at all is honestly pretty surprising. This is a LEGO theme that isn't coming back anytime soon, but the other items in this video are way crazier, so be sure to watch until the end. Up next is an item that I don't even know how to name. This is the LEGO Make and Create Cool Creations tub? This box contains 683 pieces and one minifigure. Its purpose? Well, it's kind of up to you. It was part of the Make and Create theme, which was made back in 2005. The whole goal of this theme was to give kids the pieces they needed to let their imaginations run wild. But that's not what made this box special. It was actually a Toys R Us exclusive. So not only was this item in a theme that's been retired for over 10 years, but you couldn't even buy the set in a LEGO store. I think it's safe to say that this thing is never seeing the light of day ever again. I mean, Toys R Us doesn't even exist anymore. Up next is a LEGO theme that was solely made to promote companies LEGO had collaborated with. This is the LEGO Studios theme, and just about every item released under this theme looks like this. Just a little bag with a few pieces and some minifigures inside. Funnily enough, this is actually where the infamous Nesquik bunny minifigure came from. That bunny should give you a really good idea of what this theme was all about. Its only goal was literally to promote other companies. That's it. I guess it makes sense why this theme was only around for a year. I mean, there's no way this would have lasted. But this next set was way ahead of its time. This is the LEGO Auto and Tire Repair set from the year 1984. Now, I know at first glance this set doesn't look like much, but the secret superhero of this set is this little blue piece right here. This is the LEGO Jack piece, and to my surprise, this piece actually works. This is a promotional picture that was used for the set, and look, it's holding the car up so the minifigure can actually work on it. I think this is a super cool thing that LEGO did, but since the set is literally 50 years old, I don't think we'll see it come back anytime soon. The sets in this next theme, though, I know for an absolute fact are never coming back ever. This is the LEGO Prince of Persia theme, and let me tell you why I know it's never coming back. This theme was made back in 2010, and in case you didn't know, the early 2010s was a super experimental time for LEGO. They had just come off a giant surge of revenue from the LEGO Star Wars theme, so they had a lot of money to throw around. Well, the Prince of Persia theme was part of this mass experiment, and it only ended up getting 6 sets in its entire lifetime. It's not like the sets were bad or anything, but they definitely weren't beating the likes of Ninjago or Legends of Chima at the time, so it ended up getting left in the past. If I'm going to be talking about sets from the past though, then I can't skip out on this one. This is the LEGO Swiss Villa set, and if it isn't obvious enough, this set is super vintage. It's from the year 1973. That makes this set older than the first official minifigure. It was only $6.95 when it was released way back when. But want to guess what it's worth now? Well, it's gone up almost 3,000%, which sets the price right around $500. Considering how old this set is, that's reason enough to say it's never coming back. But it's also part of the original Legoland theme, which ran from 1969 to 1978. So that pretty much seals the deal. Everybody say bye to the Swiss Villa set, and say hello to the next item. Did you guys know that in the early 2000s, LEGO tried stepping into the world of jewelry? Their attempt at this was the Clickets theme, which ran from 2003 to 2006. This theme was aimed for young girls, which would definitely be a problem today, but since it was 2003, nobody batted an eye. I have to say though, this was actually a really cool idea. The whole point of LEGO is to be as creative as possible, so what better way to do that than to make LEGO you can wear? Now, even though they had this gem of an idea, they completely sold the bag. Most of the sets in this theme don't even have actual LEGO bricks in them, which just defeated the whole purpose. Combine this with the clear problems with this theme, and it's just a wash. These sets are literally never coming back. The theme I'm about to talk about next, though, has one of the coolest backstories ever. I'm talking about LEGO Minitalia. The theme was made back in 1970 and was around until 1979, but what makes it so cool? Well, back then, LEGO wanted to start selling products in Italy, since in terms of the whole world, it was pretty close to their HQ in Denmark. Italy didn't want anything to do with LEGO though, so the Italian parliament literally banned LEGO from being imported into the country. Now, you'd think after something like this, LEGO would cut their losses and move on, but no. Instead of taking the L and walking away, they made an entire subsidiary solely for Italy. That's motion if I've ever seen it. After this, LEGO Minitalia was born, and eventually the two worked out whatever problems they had. As for the Minitalia theme though, yeah, that one's definitely never coming back. But hey, at least there's a cool story behind it. That's not the case for this next segment, though. The story here is actually super confusing, so peep game and lock in. We all know about LEGO Spider-Man. There's a bunch of different sets and minifigures, but there's one single minifigure that the general public doesn't really know about. But on this channel, I do my research, so allow me to clear the air. The minifigure I'm talking about is this one. In case you're confused, the reason it has this outfit on is because in the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, this is what he wore before he got an actual suit. But that isn't what people are confused about. Technically speaking, Spider-Man has 3 different themes under LEGO. There's the original one that the minifigure came with from 2002, the sub-theme under the Marvel Superheroes theme from 2014, and the sub-theme under Duplo from 2015. Spider-Man has changed ownership a few times over the years, so LEGO got pretty unlucky with when they made Spider-Man stuff. Anyways though, back to the minifigure, it was only ever officially released in a singular set, the first Chase set. Combine this with the 2 other Spider-Man sub-themes and people were pretty confused. However, it doesn't end there. This Spider-Man minifigure was actually supposed to be in another set, but it never saw the light of day. The set was based on the scene where Spider-Man fought Bonesaw McGraw in a cage match. Now, I don't know how, but people managed to get their hands on this set. So there are way more of these shiestied up Spider-Man minifigures floating around the market than there should be. With all that being said though, I'm sure you can imagine why this minifigure confuses so many people, and since it's based on such an old movie, I highly doubt we'll ever see it return. That's enough about Spider-Man though. Let's get on to the next item. Remember how LEGO sold the bag with the Click It theme? Well, this next set might just make up for it. This is the LEGO Freestyle Value Set with a carry bag. No, like I'm serious though, that's the actual name. Much like the set I covered from the Making Creations theme, this is another set where LEGO just wanted the builders to do their own thing. It came with 400 pieces, but I mean, come on, who cares about that? This set came with the freshest bag of 1997. There aren't a lot of pictures of it online, so excuse the bad quality, but this is one of the coolest things I think LEGO has ever done. I wish they'd do something like this today, but I doubt they will. I mean, when's the last time you saw LEGO give us a bundle deal? Yeah, that's definitely never happening again. I guess I just have to watch my LEGO carry bag dreams fly away like a balloon in the wind. This next theme is by far the oldest one in this entire video, so there's no way we're seeing any of this stuff ever again. This is the LEGO System I Leg theme, which translates to System of Play from Dutch. This theme is regarded as the pioneer of every single LEGO set ever created, and considering the first LEGO set using actual bricks is in this theme, I'd say that's well deserved. The first few sets were first revealed at the Nuremberg Toy Fair in 1955 after a full year of prototyping and correcting. When they finally had their moment, people absolutely loved them, and they soon became the LEGO we all know and love today. If not for the garage and small store sets, we may not have ever gotten LEGO. So everybody stand up and give a round of applause for our OGs over here. They really do deserve it. Up next on my list is something a little more recent, and even though it's based on a super popular TV show, I doubt you even knew that LEGO made this. This is the LEGO Powerpuff Girls theme, and in my opinion, this is a crazy curveball. This show was originally on Cartoon Network, but it wasn't the first show off that channel to collab with LEGO. The thing is though, none of the other shows ever got a real set. They just got little poly bags in LEGO dimensions. Not the Powerpuff Girls though. Even though they only got 2, they got actual sets that took time to build. It may not have been a lot of time, since neither of the sets had over 250 pieces, but it was something. I have to say though, 2 sets is a stupidly small amount, especially since this theme came out in 2018. For that reason alone, we are definitely never seeing these girls on the shelves ever again. This next theme though is so weird that I don't think you'll even want to see it come back. This is the LEGO Fabuland theme. It was around from 1979 to 1989, and before you say I'm hating for no reason, just let me cook. LEGO officially released the first minifigure in 1978, and this theme was made just 1 year after that. So tell me why the figures in this theme look like they're from a completely different company. Now, in all honesty, these figures aren't that bad, but they're just not as good as the classic minifigure. I think LEGO picked up on that a little late though, considering this theme was around for 10 whole years. Fabuland in general is pretty boring though, so let me show you a sick LEGO experiment from the early 2000s. This is LEGO Spy Botics, and I know it doesn't look like classic LEGO, but just hear me out. This theme only got 4 sets, all of which were vehicles that had to be built. Here's where it gets fun though. Not only did these sets come with a LEGO branded 35mm point and shoot camera, but it was even made to look like a can of soda. Remember, this is spy work we're doing with these cars, so we gotta stay undercover. But if this is all the Spy Botics theme had to offer, I wouldn't think it was so cool. These cars were actually remote control and came with an infrared transceiver and their own software. With these, you could actually give your car missions and carry them out with the remote control. The only catch was that you had to program it yourself, so if you didn't at least know someone who knew how to do that, you were pretty much out of luck. But still though, I can't believe LEGO released a real RC car this early. And it came with a sick camera? What's not to like here? As cool as these sets are, they've been retired for over 20 years, so I don't think we'll ever be seeing them again. Last but not least on my list is the LEGO Discovery theme. This theme was released and retired in 2003, which is a real shame. At this point, the space theme had been out for quite a while, but LEGO hadn't really made anything to resemble real spacecrafts. So in my opinion, LEGO Discovery was filling a much needed spot on the roster. Only 6 sets were released under this theme, all of which look super accurate to what they would be in real life. Like, look at this Mars Exploration rover set. It looks super good, especially for 2003 LEGO. I guess the Discovery theme was just too early though. The world wasn't ready for realistic LEGO space vehicles until 12 years later when LEGO collabed with NASA. Such a shame. What was your favorite item in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.